Alright, so we have created a few transparent panel materials, and now what I want to do is go in and adjust these mullions to create a different type of mullion system, and we're going to create a new mesh material to do that. So I'm just going to go again to my Manage tab and go to Materials, and I am going to create a new material. So I come down here, Create New Material, and I'm going to call this Mesh. Let's rename that to Mesh Mullion. Enter. And then I'm going to go to my Appearance, and I'm going to put a cutout map on that. And again, I think I'm going to use this particular mesh, which is a square mesh, and I'm going to click Open, and you'll see it cut that guy again. If I make it white, you'll see it a little bit more clearly. It's cutting it into that mesh, and this mesh actually has a darker edge around it right here, so you'll see that. So if you want to create your own, you definitely can, or download one that's a little bit more uniform. But it's going to do one by one, and we'll just say that's fine. I'm going to click Done. And then I'll change the color of it. Maybe we'll just put, how about brushed metal on it? And I'll click Open. Alright, so there's some brushed metal. It's done. Right? And I'll click OK. Or actually, let's go to Graphics and use Render Appearance for graphics, which probably won't change it much. So now I have a new mesh material called Mesh Mullion. If I click OK, now what I want to do is I want to make these mullions long and thin. So I mean, just think of this as a schematic representation. So this is about giving people an idea of what you want, not necessarily the constructed Revit version of it. So these mullions are families, and we can access them in a similar way that we access the panels. So I'm hovering over that mullion. You may need to tab to get the mullion, and if you select it, this is a system, so this mullion's been applied under the edit type, and it's pinned. So I'm going to unpin that, and I'm going to go to edit type, and I'm going to duplicate that mullion, and I'm going to name it about 1/2 inch by 12-inch rectangular mesh. Okay, I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to come in and I am going to adjust these to accommodate that setting. So the angle and the offset are fine. I don't want it to be offset right now. We will probably update that a little later. The thickness, however, which is really the depth right here, I want that to be 1 foot. So I'm just going to type in 1. And then the width, which is this distance right here, is divided in the middle of the curtain. Well, the center ones are divided in the middle of the curtain panel line, and so if I want that to be 1/2 inch, each one of these has to be 1/4 inch. All right, so I'm going to change these to 1/4 inch, and then I'm going to come in, and there's a material of aluminum on there, and I want to change that to my mullion, right, my mesh mullion, and I'm going to click OK, and then I'll click OK. And now it applies that mesh mullion right to that guy right there. Now again, if I pick this mullion, remember I unpinned it. If I pin it back, it reverts back to the system. So for example, if I pick the system and I go to edit type, those mullions are applied in this system. So if I come in here, I can come in and change these mullions, and it'll change every single one of those mullions. So if I come in here and pick my rectangular mesh mullion here, which is available to me because I duplicated and created a new one, then it will apply those. Right, and click OK. Now I've got this sort of perforated wall system, right? Now these are splitting the difference right down the middle, right? So what I can do is I can come in and I can change the offset of that mullion. So if I pick that and I go to edit type, the offset up here, if I set that to 6 inches, which is half the size of the thickness, click OK, you'll see that it'll offset it to the front or the back, and now I have sort of like this mesh system. Okay, when we come back, I'll use these series of parts that I've created to sort of create a funky, more freeform wall.